Welcome back to the Yellow Room Podcast, where it's all about positivity and empowering you to become the very best version of yourself. I'm Nika, the host of this podcast, and I'm so ecstatic that you tuned in for yet another powerful topic intended to empower you. Thank you. Before we get into today's episode, I want you all to hear from one of our fellow Yellow Room family members about how this podcast has been life-changing for her.
Every morning, I listen to the Yellow Room podcast, and every morning it is a mirror placed in my face. I love this podcast. I mean, just the way she delivers her message, her tone, and the way you can tell Nika is filled with compassion. And every message that she puts out there is speaking to me. There's not one day she puts a message out that she's not talking to me. And it gives me hope and it gives me strength to want to do better, to fight and be better in my walk with Christ. I love this podcast. I look forward to hearing it. I have it saved to my phone on my iPhone. I just love it. And I pray that she continues to reach thousands and even nations. Amazing podcast.
Hello, Yellow Room family, and happy November. It is my absolute favorite month. For one, it's my birthday this month, and then I absolutely love eating on Thanksgiving and the lovely leftovers that I just feel taste even better than the first time I ate them. Anyway, I hope that everyone has been great. I'm super excited to share this whole topic of gratitude with you all. So about maybe 2 weeks ago, before I went on a team outing, my boss pulled the team into an office and had us watch this video. It was actually a TED Talk, which I love TED Talks, but it was really on this whole idea of gratitude producing happiness in our life. Many people actually think that they'll be grateful once they're happy, but it's actually the reverse. You'll be more happy if you're grateful. And there was like a lot of great insight in this video that I watched. And we actually decided to start not a month long, but 21-day challenge starting November 1st as a team. And I thought that it was a phenomenal idea. So I actually started a 21 days of happiness challenge on my website and with people on my social media platforms. I know that it is now November 3rd, but it's never too late to start. It actually takes 21 days to form a habit, if you did not know that. So although we're in the month of November and people typically try to take on this attitude of gratitude, it's something that I think that we should really, really, really focus on throughout the year. So the goal is that if you do this for the first 21 days of this month or whenever you start, it'll start to become second nature to you. And I can honestly say that I'm on day 2 of this challenge and I feel absolutely amazing. Like, I'm typically a very energetic, like high energy person. You know this if you know me personally. And I know sometimes it's probably annoying because people are like, why are you so like uppity? Like, why are you so energetic? Like, tone it down a little bit. But I also have moments where I just feel totally like blah. I just want to crawl in a hole. It just depends on how my day is going, what's going on in my life. But I can actually say that I just feel much more happier. Like, I haven't been complaining. I know I tend to have a problem of coming home complaining if stuff isn't in place. I kind of like find myself bickering at my husband, and it's not even intentional. It's almost like it's just second nature. But I've noticed a significant change in our interactions over the past 2 days. It's just been simply amazing. So I'll pretty much share with you all what all goes into this 21 days of happiness challenge and what you will start to see shifts in. But it's pretty much, I want to go over what you should be doing every day to be a part of this challenge. And then I'll end the episode by telling you the benefits of actually doing this. And if you continue to do this beyond the first 21 days of this month, or whenever you start to do this, if you hear this, let's say January, you newly discovered this podcast, I don't want you to think that just because you missed a month of November, you can't do this. You can start whenever. It's never too late. Society has taught us to accept an invalid formula for happiness. The whole, if I work harder, I'll be more successful. And then if I'm more successful, then I'll be happier. The problem is that if we take on this mindset, oftentimes we find ourselves being challenged with being grateful. And what I mean by that is we'll hit milestone after milestone and achieve goal after goal. And we take on this mindset of, oh, it's never enough. I'll never have enough. I have to constantly be pursuing X, Y, Z. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being ambitious. I'm a very ambitious, driven person myself. But there's been times in the recent year or two where I actually had to slow down and really think for a minute about what I have and why I'm so driven to achieve the next big thing. I just really had to sit still and evaluate everything that I have in the moment. And essentially what was happening is I was getting to a place where I'm like, okay, I have to achieve this, get that, where my blessings actually started to feel like burdens. And that's not a good place to be. For instance, for an example, I prayed and prayed and prayed for a promotion that I received back in, maybe fall of 2018, maybe last year around this time, I received a promotion. With this promotion, I stayed with my company, but I ended up going to work in our corporate office in DC. This resulted in a commute for me. And I remember this whole application process of me even getting this new job. It took 4 months, 4 long months of me waiting, interviewing and just a lot of back and forth. And I remember praying to God, if just make this wait worth it. And I spent countless nights and mornings really begging and pleading to God for me to get this new job. I get it. And then I started to have an attitude every day. I had to wake up a little earlier because I had a longer commute. And so I really had to check myself because I knew that the way I was thinking and the way that the outlook of my day, how I started each day with that attitude, it was no good for myself, or it wasn't good for my team at work, the people who had to interact with me having this bad attitude. And so what I started doing was I started to start my day when I was praying aloud. I would start by thanking God for all the things that I could think of, really showing him that I'm grateful for everything, right? And I would do this anyway in my prayer, but I kind of switched around the order of my prayer life. And so I will always start by thanking him. So instead of me complaining oh my goodness, I don't feel like waking up at 4, I don't feel like this, I don't feel like that, I started to change those statements to, God, I thank you that I have the ability to commute to this job in the first place, right? Instead of me complaining about having to stop and get gas, which is not my favorite thing to do whatsoever, I started to say, God, I thank you that you've provided me with a job that allows me to freely go and get gas. God, I thank you that I have a vehicle in the first place that I'm even able to get gas in, put gas in. These statements alone, saying them out loud and actually hearing me say them, it just started to transform my heart, right? It started to change my posture, and it started to actually change the trajectory of the day ahead. And I really had this whole positive perspective going into a new day. And naturally, I started to feel much happier and much more energetic moving forward once I started doing those things. So I think it's safe to say that we've all found ourselves in this predicament, whether it's something that you've worked through in the past or if you're currently experiencing it. But I just feel like society has trained us to take on this invalid formula of happiness, and it's just broken and backwards. And that's for two reasons. The first is every time we hit a success, like I mentioned, we automatically change the definition of what success looks like. So, for example, let's say if you're a college student, right? You set a goal to make a 3.5 GPA for your semester. You said, for where I've been and my experiences thus far, a 3.5 will be phenomenal. Boom, you put in the work, you get your 3.5. And then it's like, okay, you get your email from your school, you made the dean's list, and then it's like you automatically feel not good enough because let's say your friend made president's list, right? So now it's like, I wasn't successful. Like I really didn't do anything. I need a 4.0, right? Or let's say you received that salary or salary increase or promotion at work, and you've hoped and you prayed for it and you waited so long. And let's say it's a hefty salary increase. And then you hear of, a teammate getting a promotion as well. But maybe it was a couple thousand or 3,000 more than you. All of a sudden you start to feel like, oh, this is not enough. Like I need more. And I just feel like it's a continuous cycle and it's not good. It's something that we really need to work hard at leaving behind. And the reality is, if happiness is actually on the other side of success, we will never get there taking on this mentality. I'll be right back after this message. Today's episode was brought to you by Anchor, my podcast host. I chose Anchor to host my podcast for several reasons. Number one, it's free. 2, the convenience. They have several creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. They even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on many different platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can make money from podcasting. Yes, you can make money with no minimum listenership. If you're interested in starting a podcast today, everything you need to know, you can learn at anchor.fm to get started. Thank you. The second thing that's wrong with this invalid formula for happiness that society has embedded in us is that we tend to think that happiness is above the cognitive horizon. And what I mean by that is we think that we have to be successful in order to be happy. But the real problem is that our brains actually work in the opposite order. If we can raise our levels of positivity in the present moment, we will start to experience what's actually called the happiness advantage. You might be wondering, well, what is the happiness advantage? Our brains at positive performance levels perform way better than when we have negative or neutral stress. And as a result, our intelligence rises, our creativity shoots through the roof, our energy levels rise, it's pretty much the result of me, like, for an example, starting to say those grateful statements out loud, right? I found myself not even needing to drink coffee, or I found myself not even needing to, really intentionally focus on like creating great content. It's like everything became so second nature to me. Everything just flowed beautifully. Like it's amazing. It's an amazing experience. And so I'm challenging myself and you to reverse this invalid happiness formula that society has like shoved down our throat. So this month, the challenge is we need to work at creating lasting, like sustainable, positive change for the first 20 days. And remember, I know it's the third of the month. You can start right now, today. Let's do the following. And you'll need a journal, right? You'll need a journal to do these things. So you can physically write things down. I know for me that works best. Some people may take notes in their notes app on their phone. Whatever it is, just make sure you have something to document these things. Every single day, write down 3 things that you are grateful for. And these shouldn't be just broad statements, right? So let's say if one of the things that you're grateful for happens to be your spouse or your significant other. Don't just say, I'm grateful for having blank in my life. I'm grateful for having blank in my life because he or she is very supportive of me. I can always count on he or she to be there for me. He or she makes me deal with my, insecurities by making me feel better about myself by doing X, Y, Z. You get it. Like, they need to be very detailed statements. I would even challenge you that for each statement that you write, each thing or person or whatever it is that you're grateful for, write 3 reasons why you're grateful for that person or that thing. The second thing that I would challenge you all to do every single day to journal is writing out a positive experience or encounter from the last 24 hours. And this was great for me. So the first day I started doing this, my day started out great, but then it started to go downhill because I started to feel overwhelmed. But as I was writing out the positive experience that I'd encountered over the last 24 hours, it's like this, I don't know, like something just came over me and I just started smiling inside out. And all of those feelings of me being stressed out or overwhelmed, they just went out of the window. So journal a positive experience or an encounter from the last 24 hours every single day. The third thing, exercise. Like me, I love the elevators. I'm turning into a fat person. No offense to anyone, but I like to tell myself that I'm such a fat girl because I will hop on the elevators just to go up one floor, right? It's bad. I'm trying to change that. And so what I did was I started to take the stairs instead. Is it a challenge? Yes, it is. Does it feel good? Not all the time. But I would encourage you to exercise. If you go to the gym already on a consistent daily basis, then you probably know that this is very helpful for your mindset, and it gives you a different energy shift, right? So I'd encourage you to do some form of exercise every single day. The fourth thing is prayer and meditation. I am a weird person that loves noise all the time. I don't know if it's because I was raised in a household where TVs were always on. My dad has a hearing problem, so he would think that the TVs in the house were at a normal noise volume, but they were very loud. So that could be why I just always like noise. So it's like I'm cleaning, I'm doing work. I like to have music in the background. However, I started to sit in silence, right? And it's been life changing for me, like to really sit in silence and hear your own thoughts and like spend quiet time alone with yourself. Like you'll start to learn a lot about yourself that you didn't know. And so I would really say meditation is great. Also prayer. I start each day off with prayer, and that's just my time to pour out to God, like, and just spend time with him. And so what I actually started to do for this challenge is I'm starting to split out my commute. So it takes me 20 minutes to get to my commuter lot, to get on my commuter van. And so what I did was the first 10 minutes I spent in prayer with God alone. No music, just me and God. The second half, I sat in silence and I actually started to hear from him, and some things that I was asking him about and praying for, I started to get more clarity on those things. It was beautiful. So I'd encourage you to intentionally spend time in prayer and meditation every single day and journal it. Lastly, a random act of kindness. This just warms my heart all the time. Like at any time I do it, I just feel so great. Like, and you can do these random acts of kindness without telling other people, right? You could just do something to help someone out without having to make a public service announcement about it, right? So and it doesn't even involve money. Like a lot of people think like, oh, well, I don't have the extra money to pay for the random lady's groceries at Walmart, or I don't have extra money to buy the next two people in line after me a coffee or whatever. It can be something as simple as leaving your the coworker who you don't get along with too well, right? And they know that you don't really care for them. It could be something as simple as writing them a thank you note, right? Let's say if this coworker is difficult to work with, no matter how difficult they are, they're teaching you things about yourself and working with others. Tell them why you're grateful to work with them. Hold the door open for people. Like, I thought that this was like common sense. Maybe I was just raised a little different, but I'm always appalled at people who don't hold the door open or even say thank you when I hold the door open for them. Like, kindness goes a long way. And trust me, it'll make you feel so much better about yourself and the world. I really hope that you will join in with me on this 21-day happiness challenge, right? The ultimate goal is for us to all be happier people. Imagine a world with happier people. If you are someone who just thinks that we live in this dark, fallen world, which is very accurate, the change starts in you. Happiness is contagious. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into work feeling absolutely amazing, like just a whole ball of energy. And I'll walk throughout the floor and just, smile and carry on conversation. And the people who look the most evil, it's like I brighten their day. And guess what? Their interactions with others will probably change and be more positive. I just want us all to be happy people and happy contributors to society. In addition to the benefits of having this grateful heart and just being a happy person altogether, it's proven that happiness, gratitude, and thanksgiving It reduces depression. Like, there's been so many people who have taken on this happiness challenge, whether it be around Thanksgiving or any time throughout the year, and they found that this was a great coping mechanism for like those negative emotions and just feeling down and out. So reduce your depression and anxiety by really taking this gratitude thing to heart. This whole attitude of gratitude, it increases your productivity, right? So whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're in corporate America, just having that positive mindset and upbeat like aura about yourself can make you way more productive at work and stand out essentially if your performance is better. And guess what that can lead to down the line? Maybe you'll get that promotion or that salary increase that you've been hoping for so long. Another thing that this attitude of gratitude can affect is it can improve your overall self-esteem, your confidence in your ability to do whatever it is despite your insecurities that seem to haunt you. It also is proven to decrease your blood pressure, right? If you're angry and you just have these negative emotions fueling in you all the time, chances are you have heightened levels of blood pressure, and that's not good, right? For any of us. It also can improve your sleep quality. Imagine you don't have to start your day with the 3 things that you're grateful for, but imagine doing that right before you go to sleep. I know most of you all can agree that sometimes if you go to bed with an attitude or you have these bad things on your mind, they're likely to be the first thing that you think of in the morning when you wake up, or you may even dream about these bad things. But imagine going to bed with all of your gratefulness, like just all over the place and just consuming you. Imagine the great night's sleep that you'll start to get. Another thing, you can have deeper, greater friendships and relationships if you start to have a heart of gratitude. Like if you really start to think about all the reasons why you're grateful for having this friend or this spouse or a girlfriend or a boyfriend in your life. Yes, nothing is perfect. No relationship is perfect. But if you can always have the positive characteristics and positive experiences at the forefront of your relationships and your friendships, you'll start to appreciate your friends and significant others a lot more. I hope that you all have enjoyed today's episode. And please, 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 for more details on this 21 Days of Happiness Challenge, please visit my website at www.nikaspeaks.com. On the menu, select 21 Days of Happiness. While you are journaling these things physically, I also have a forum where you can submit your journal entries as well so that you can share with others how this challenge is going and let me know what it is that you're doing on a daily basis. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. If you are new here, please consider subscribing on whatever platform you're listening in on today. Leave me a rating, leave me a review, comment, whatever you feel that you want to do. If you already consider yourself a part of the Yellow Room family, please consider making a small monthly donation to sustain and contribute to my growing platform. No amount is too small. Donations can be made at anchor.fm/the Yellow Room/support. If you are unable to, I still love you just the same. You can still support me by listening, sharing, and providing feedback. I thank you all so much, and I appreciate your continued listenership. Thank you.